F10 round 11 here at Abu Dhabi. I am Bryn. Sadly Sam cannot be here tonight, but I am filling in for him. So welcome to Abu Dhabi. Tonight we have got the standard 18-minute qualifying session as we go into the 50% race, but I am just going to bring up some track facts for you guys. So it is a 5.554 kilometer circuit with 21 corners, 13 of them to the left and 8 to the right. The race is counterclockwise, so it's not like most circuits that are clockwise. So the total distance in this 50% race will be 155.521 kilometers exactly. And the lap record during the race, this is not in qualifying mind you, is a 1:39.283, which was actually set by Lewis Hamilton in 2019. But I am now gonna go on board as it seems that Staber is the current furthest one out on track right now, going to be the first one to set a fast lap time. So there has been 11 Grand Prix held here at Abu Dhabi, started back in 2009, and funny enough was won by Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull Racing Renault. So that was certainly a very interesting race for the first proper night race in Formula 1 that wasn't Bahrain. But anyway, Staber now heading round sector 3 towards the start of his lap. Of course, 2 DRS detection zones around Abu Dhabi and 21 corners for the guys to navigate. It's going to be very easy for them to invalidate, but hopefully they shouldn't validate that easily, as now Staber is coming round to turn 21 now to go straight to the line. It's a very short run to the line, but now his lap has started, heading towards turn 1 at nearly 300 kph. Missing that curb a little bit there. Got a slow car in the sector 3. That looks like a Alpha Tauri, just slowing down before starting their lap time. But anyway, coming down to end sector 1 now. That was a 13.8, which is a quick first sector from the Alfa Romeo driver. Of course, sector 1 being a very short sector, only including 3 corners before you split off into sector 2, which has got these 2 long DRS straights. Of course, you want to open DRS as quick as possible. But anyway now, because you can see the Ferrari ahead weaving, that seems to be trap formula. But shifting down to second gear, down, or even first, to try and get the extra rotation. But a very good exit from the Alfa Romeo driver. DRS wide open yet again. Still not invalidated their lap time, which is very good on their behalf. Now coming into the final section of this track, sector 3. Clipping them curves perfectly. Ooh, losing the car a bit there. But certainly been a very clean lap so far. This is a trickiest section on the track where you're coming through under and around the hotel. Heading round now down to turn 20 before heading to 21. Clipping the apex perfectly there. Coming into 21, how do they find that? Pretty simple. Ooh, a lot of trash in there, but that is a 33.3 as the banker lap time. But next across the line will be Riker in the Mercedes, does a 34.9. Then it will be the Williams of Davey with with one of the Alpha Tauris coming across with a 34.1 on the medium tyres. Now that is CPI Black Phoenix going into P4 with a 34.4. But let's go on board with Trap Formula, who are currently on the medium tyres. Heading to the DRS zone, now opening DRS wide open, choosing not to get a little slipstream off the Alfa Romeo. But of course, slipstream in PSGL is banned. But Lewis also and Josh Sidney going to P3 and P4 in the both Renault powered cars, although one of them is the McLaren. Then Stiggy taken forth off of Josh Sidney in the Alpha Tauri with a 34.0. Just see what tyres are all on. So top 4 choosing soft straight away. The Renault and Alpha Tauri there choosing mediums, and of course Trap Formula and Alpha F1 choosing the mediums as well. As F1 are Den Day, in the other Williams goes P3 with a 33.7, but Staber setting the benchmark very early of a 33.3. So initially, his trap invalidates sadly there, but behind him we have got Alpha F1, who is on a lap, coming round sector 3 right now on the medium tyres in that Ferrari car. Of course, Alpha was saying to me that he likes this track, he's got some good times on the board, but let's see what they can do on the medium tyres. Very cautious through there. But anyway, coming on the exit 21 now, what can they do? Going up to P12 with a 34.6. But now Aero Specialist, let's go on board with them in the racing point. Heading down towards turn 1 now. Locking up, trying to get the car stopped, but very smooth apart from that. Heading now through turn 3 in towards the end of sector 1, and most crucially into turn 4. Locking up again, but getting purple sector 1. Can we see somebody take the challenge to Staber in the Alfa Romeo? Certainly will be interesting to see. Of course, 2 long DRS zones right now, as these are the longest straights on the track, which make up sector 2, but messing up their lap slightly there. That could cost them quite a bit. But certainly still pushing on. The game says they have purple sector 2, but I highly doubt that, as they do invalidate their lap time. So currently, Staber's looking provisional pole with a 33.3, 3/10 quicker than any other driver right now on the track. But Poggle is also invalidated, but still out on 2-lap-old softs. Alpha F1 is most likely heading towards the pit lane now. Oh, Alpha, you've got to follow the pit lane rules there. You cannot do that. Herizé is on a lap right now, heading down the first of the DRS zones. DRS will be wide open, heading down to this notoriously tricky chicane, where it's very easy to lose the back end of the car, but braking early enough, locking up even to try and get that car stopped, taking that curve very well, not invalidating, which is the most crucial thing. The DRS open once again as they head down the second of the DRS zones. Will the Ferrari get slightly in the way? No, trap does stay out the way perfectly enough. Still out on the medium tyres that are 2-lap old, but certainly Herizé has got a purple sector 2, but the game always says that as that will... No, it's not an invalidation, because normally that tends to be an invalidation, because this game is very strict on corner cutting, and that just shows how inconsistent it is, which no doubtfully I can back up. But seems to me there's only 4 drivers right now on the grid who have not set a lap time. One of them is going to set a lap time now if they don't invalidate in turn 20 and 21. Locking up even for the final corner, but what can they do? Got with a 33.4 in the Haas Formula 1 car, but Trap Formula seems to have ran out of fuel, but Dino is the next car who has not set a lap time. Not invalid so far, but a very clean sector 3 so far, as we do head to the trickiest part of this track. We head around the hotel. Looking very clean though, I will say. Now coming out of 19 towards 20. Oh, that cost them, and there's an invalidation. And they passed the pit entry line, so that is their lap over. But next driver I think is on a lap will be Riker's, the closest one to finish a lap. They're currently 2/10 up on the soft tyre. What can they do? Taking it very cautious through there, not wanting to risk anything at all. But crucially losing time there, running a bit wide into the corner. But certainly not bad right now. Coming towards 20 and 21 to set a soft tyre. Can they improve on their 34.9? Yes, they can, up to P12 with a 34.3. Black Phoenix will be the next car to come across the line. What can they... Oh no, they choose to box. Dino is out on a lap right now on these 2-lap old softs, making a mistake there slightly, but I'm just going to go on board with the current provisional pole, who's also invalidated. So we're going to move down to the McLaren of Lewis 05. Heading round the final corner now, very clean exit, helping up to P3, sorry, with a 33.533. Very good lap from the McLaren driver. But Dende now coming to the end of sector 1, trying to look if there's any other cars that are later on that, as Josh Sidney takes provisional pole off of Staber. A very good lap there, 500ths quicker than Staber. Can anybody improve to beat that? Stiggy's coming to start a lap. James Dovey is currently coming through sector 2, the 2 long DRS straights. But is there anybody else later on a lap to set a time? Yep, Alpha F1. No, that is his teammate Track Formula starting a lap, sorry. But it seems to be Dende is coming through the final sector right now. Locking up slightly into there, obviously running no ABS. But now coming through 19 towards 20 and the most crucial corner 21, where you want to try and get the best exit possible because it's a short run to the line. Go and take a provisional pole off of Josh Sidney by 400ths quicker. Certainly a good lap time as Alpha goes up to P6 with a 33.4. Very good lap there. Just going to try and find somebody who's on. Like Stiggy is coming through the final sector right now in the Alpha Tauri. Can they improve to beat their lap time as they do invalidate? Oh, we have got a Mercedes currently sat off track. Okay, that is not very good at all. But Track Formula is on a lap now. Looking very good so far from then. Anyway, now heading to the final corners with 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Very clean one there. And goes up to P4 with a 33.3. Very good lap there from the Ferrari driver. So most people now, I would guess, are on their in-laps. Clean Track Formula. Dende with a good lap, because he did take provisional pole off of Josh Sidney earlier on with by 41 thousandths. Very good from them. But Heresy is currently on a lap coming through sector 2, which consists of the 2 big DRS straights with that little chicane in between them. Are they currently up on the time? Yes, they are. 700ths. Certainly very good through there. Coming into sector 3 though. Oh, a bit of a lock-up could have cost them a bit of time there. Cautious on the traction there. But now coming round into the tricky section where you go to the hotel. That was a very clean line. Shifting up to 4th to get that rotation. Anyway, now heading to the final corners of turn 20 and 21. Boxes in. Slightly cuts the line there, but certainly doesn't feel they can improve enough. But Black Phoenix is invalidated right now. Track Formula is heading to the pit lane, I would imagine. Yep. And Josh Sidney is going to be the first one on an outlap now to do their final runs of this session. So of course he's going to be the first driver to set their final laps in this session. Let's see how things go now. Of course, you're going to want to conserve them tyres on the outlap to save them as much as possible. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting race because this track is certainly going to be a two-stopper, because no driver we should see going from soft to hards, because this track is not suited to the hards, as it is a high degradation track. Though you expect maybe to be a soft hard strategy, we'll most likely see the drivers doing either soft medium medium, soft medium soft. Strategies like that are what we're going to see going into this race. But Josh Sidney now coming around turn 20, putting the car into max fuel mixture and hot lap mode to start their qualifying run now, heading down to towards turn 1. Very clean through there. Track Formula retires from the session as they cannot get another lap in, as they have also crashed. That is certainly interesting, where they've crashed as well, or they've just pulled over. Certainly interesting, but the Renault driver certainly very clean through to the hairpin now. That was very clean. Now heading down the back straight, well, the first of them, with DRS wide open, trying to extend that as much as possible. Of course, trying to get as much speed down this straight before braking for the chicane, where you've got another straight after. That is so many times I've just said straight in one sentence. But anyway, DRS open once again, heading towards the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3. They are currently 2 tenths up. Could we see Josh be the first driver to get into the 32s? Certainly will be interesting to see, as you don't know, he might be the only driver to do it, but let's see if they can do that. Coming into this final part of the track in Sector 3, where you can lose or gain the most time, as that is close to an invalidation, but manages to stop themselves from getting one, turning in optimally with coming round turn 21 now, trying to get the best run. Of course, qualifying is over. What can they do? It is a 32.8. What a lap from the driver there, as Tyler goes up into a 32.8 as well. 4,000 splitting the two, as Poggle goes into P8 with a 33.5. But what can Sabre do? They got to a 32.9. Certainly good, because of the next contender for pole, the Williams driver, is coming through the chicane between the two straights right now. Alpha F1 is in P7 with a 33.498. Of course, his teammate being in P6, so the Ferrari driver's not bad there. Aero finishing P15 with a 34.272, but that is a purple Sector 2 from the Williams driver. Can they keep this up to take pole position off of Josh Sidney? Stiggy, Vons, Lewis, Poggle, Alpha all finishing qualifying in P8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. What can they do now? As Heresy takes it off of him with a 32.6. That is certainly a very good lap time from the drivers. James now comes across the line to take P11 right behind their teammate. But what can Dende report? Oh, as they spin going around the final corner, they have done a Nicholas Latifi. But what can Dino reply to? He retires from the session. But that was certainly a very interesting qualifying session, with even one of them replicating a real F1 scene. As this is your qualifying result, Heresy on pole with a 32.6, followed by Josh, Tyler in 3rd, Staber in 4th, Dende in 5th, 6th is Davey W, 7th is Trappy Formula, 8th is Alpha F1, so 2 Ferrari drivers in 7th and 8th, Poggle in 9th, Lewis in 10th, 11th, and starting the outside the top 10 drivers is James Dovey, then Vons in 12th, Stiggy in 13th, Black Phoenix in 14th, Riker in 15th, Aero Specialist in 16th, and rounding up the back of this grid was Dino in P17. So that was certainly a very good short qualifying session, but let's see what happens as we go into the Grand Prix. We'll see most drivers do that two-stop strategy, but will we see some of the drivers outside the top 10 start on the medium tyres to do the alternate? As we are now waiting for the drivers to ready up for the start of this Grand Prix. Of course, they're going to be choosing the strategies that they're doing right now, but in the Mercedes and Ferrari garages right now, you can see that the soft tyres in the Ferrari garage just changed to the mediums, and the Mercedes guys have currently got the soft tyres sat there ready for the pit stop. So could we see the Mercedes drivers trying something odd? But anyway, we are now ready to start the formation lap. Let's see what tyres everybody is on. So, the top 10, of course, having to start on the soft, but James Dovey, Vonis, Sticky, Riker, Aerospecialist, and Dino starting on the medium tyres, but Black Phoenix is chosen to go on the softs. Certainly interesting to see. But Hereze will be leading this formation lap all the way to the grid and see what they can do off the start, as this game, as I've just looked around, is just been a bit of a pain right now. But as you can see, Josh Sidney is holding back from Hereze quite a bit there, with Tyler behind him, Staber in 4th, Dende 5th, looking to get past, hopefully, off the start maybe. Trap Formula, the two Ferrari drivers, Trap and Alpha, I was just in a party with them and they seemed confident, but Saturn P7 and 8, that might have docked their confidence a little bit. Hopefully it hasn't, but Poggle in 9th in the Mercedes. Lewis and James will be trying to do some strategic working out together. Of course, one McLaren driver being on the softs because they qualified inside the top 10, and one of them is qualifying outside the top 10, so let's see how these go. Of course, Hereze getting pulled by 210s. Will that extra pace advantage help them off the start, or is that just giving it all in qualifying? Are they a one-lap wonder, or is they call George Russell? Is he a Mr. Saturday? Who knows? Let's wait out and see what will happen off the start of this Grand Prix. Of course, the Red Bull is very far behind, so that could be holding up a little bit. But anyway, now the Red Bull is lining onto the back of the grid, something you don't see often. But anyway, let's try and get a better camera angle, please, game. Can we actually see the lights? And this is what we're going to have to deal with if we can get changed. No, I cannot see how many lights. Here we go. Heading to... It's 5 lights. And away we go. It's a very good start from the Haas driver Hereze and Josh Sidney and the Alfa Romeo are already out of the session, and it's a virtual safety car straight away, and they haven't even made it to turn 1. That is not a good start from the two drivers there, but Riker is not in lead, and there's more damage to the cars that look like an AlphaTauri end play. But Stiggy, James Dovey and Lewis all having 5-second time penalties right now after colliding with each other during the virtual safety car. But as I have not commentated on F10 before, let's have a look at the F10 standings and see what's going on. Heresy is currently leading the standings. It is very far, he's 24 points ahead of his closest rival right now. But I don't know what's going on. Esteve has now left the session and we are back under green flag racing. It's very close. Let me try and change this to interval so we can see the gaps. 4 tenths between Tyler and Denade right now. A very good start, apart from the 2 drivers, of course, retiring before they even made it to turn 1. James Dovey already up 1 position because of this, but Alpha, oh, that is just a timing glitch, sorry, my fault there. I should have remembered it's happening. But Herese's predicted strategy is soft medium, so choosing not to do the soft medium soft strategy, which could have been made him quicker at the end of this Grand Prix. But Sticky is already in the pit lane, serving a 5-second time penalty first. But now Herese does lead this Grand Prix with Dende in second, Tyler in third right now, followed by Davey. Trap Formula second behind Davey, and his teammate now right on the back of him. It's showing the DRS symbol, but DRS has not been enabled yet as we are... Oh, it has been enabled. Sorry, my fault. I did not realise that. But anyway, heading down the second of the DRS zones right now. Delta, a little bit of info. Alpha went in, out of the pits when Trap was coming back to do a final lap for drama. Oh, so that's some drama there. And Ewan's put telemetry. What do you mean? Oh, you want to see? Okay. But anyway, it's very spread out right now between the drivers. Specialist is the closest driver to another person right now. Of course, we've got the W11 in front of him and him being in the W10. They're basically father and son, if you think about it. Or mother and daughter, however you want to think of it. But they're both basically evolutions of each other, so certainly be interesting to see, as DRS has now been able to, as apparently we were on lap 3 earlier, but now we are on lap 3 officially. Sorry, this game is very confusing with its timing glitches. But heading through right now, Poggle is on the back of the McLaren, who is also on the back of Alpha F1. Alpha F1 does have less ERS than the McLaren and does not have DRS on his teammate, so he is a sitting duck to the McLaren right now, and he just blocks him. That was not very good there from Alpha, as he does slightly turn in, but he does hold it there and makes contact with Lewis yet again, but Lewis crucially gets the move done. Alpha does have DRS but has very little ERS compared to Lewis. Oh, they're both similar right now, but still, he cannot fight it back. But Alpha running in a slight deep there, but Specialist does get past Riker, but Riker puts it straight back up down the inside, but cannot make the move done. As they are on the inside, it tends to be better to be on the outside as you go into there, but Dende is only 6 tenths behind Herese right now. With James Dovey also close behind Vonis, looking to take P9 maybe to get more points for McLaren in the championship. But certainly things are heated up, considering Josh and Staber didn't even make it to turn 1 before they crashed out. But Track Formula is on the back of Davey by 3 tenths right now. Could we see Trap get him through the next DRS zone. Of course, both drivers here on high ERS, sorry, energy recovery system for both drivers. But Davey will get DRS off of Tyler, but then Trap will have DRS off of Davey. So this is very much going to be a little DRS train, but Davey is right on the back of Tyler, and Trap has slightly lost contact of Davey, but James Davey is also not far behind Vonis, who is on the back of Poggle in that Mercedes, because soft tyres won't last that long, as Vonis makes a slight mistake there in the racing point. But Dende is not far behind Heresy now, with Davey right behind Tyler, with Trap Formula not far behind either. Alpha F1's also caught back to Lewis, both on similar amounts of ERS, but Trap with Alpha with slightly more. Sorry, just seeing the Ferrari there kind of confused me, but Trap Formula is catching back up to Davey W. But it's certainly interesting if in qualifying they had a slight bit of Ferrari drama, as there is a Red Bull round, that is CPI Black Phoenix, also with wing damage. Will they unghost at the wrong time? Yes, they do, blocking their teammate. That is certainly not what you want to do. But Trap Formula now only 3/10 behind Davey, taking the shorter line there, hooking onto the curb to pull the car around. Will they be able to do anything in the DRS zones now? And will Davey try and do something on Tyler? Oh, bit of wheel spin there from the Williams driver, putting the power down too early, but it's just going to sit behind. Going to use overtake now to get past Jay Tyler. He is incoming for the move, and he sends it to the inside. That is not smart in my opinion, because he will have DRS in the next zone. But Trap's now going to get involved in this battle as Tyler goes around the outside of Davey, which was a very good move. Will either driver have DRS? Yes, Tyler does have DRS on Davey. Can Trap Formula now use their ERS to try and get past Davey? No, they cannot, because Davey is too far ahead. But Poggle has been overtaken by James Dovey now. Poggle's trying to hold it to the inside. James Dovey does get that move done. As I did say, it is better to be on the outside for that corner. But Trap Formula is right over the back of Davey W, who's also over the back of Tyler. This is certainly heating up between the top three right now. Heresy has slightly pulled a gap to Dende, but Dende is still in DRS range. Actually, out of DRS now. Both drivers at nip and tongue right now. Of course, both of them being very similar paced right now. But Alva gets a 3-second time penalty, and Lewis is the first of the soft drivers to come in. What tyre will they go onto? They seem to be going onto the medium tyres. So they seem to be doing the soft, medium, soft strategy. But I'm going to go back on with Trap Formula, who is over the back of Davey. Can they get DRS going into the next zone? They most likely will, but Davey will have DRS off of Tyler, so it's certainly going to be a very hard battle with both drivers having the DRS and ERS available to them. Tyler is currently not using their ERS. He's got the second most, because Trap has got the most right now, but Davey has used some. Looking at Tyler now going into this next DRS zone, is going to sit behind to get the DRS again, because of course he would have learnt from that mistake trying to get past there. But now Trap is using their ERS to keep up with Davey, catching a little bit because Davey seems to not be pushing as much, but closer behind. Vonis is right to the back of Alpha F1. Alpha seems to be struggling now on them softs. The mediums seem to have hit the crossover period with the soft tyres, so we could see the likes of Heresy pitting in very soon, with the gap between Jay Tyler and Dende already being 3.2 and the gap between Heresy being 1.5 seconds. Will we see Heresy pitting this lap? No, we do not, but Dende does stay out and follow suit. Tyler stays out. Davey, Trap does decide to try and get the undercut and pits in now. Alpha, of course, going to have to stay out because their teammate has pit in. Vonis is on the back of Alpha. Could this cost him? Of course, with Vonis being on medium tyres, which aren't fresh, but still going to have more life than the soft tyres. Going to try and get past, hopefully, soon. As Trap is onto the mediums. This is a very tricky pit exit, but certainly Trap is not willing to let it stop him, as he is now going to come out the exit and should come out in P11. Yep, he does. But now Vonis is close behind Alpha F1. DRS, of course, gives you an extra 20 kilometers an hour down the straight. Very close there, but Vonis is just not very good at that exit. Alpha keeps getting the better exit out of the two, but Davey is going past Jay Tyler now, finally getting past and also getting ahead for the corner, but then goes in deep. Can Tyler pick up from this mistake? No, he cannot. He just does not have the tyre grip to keep up. But Hereze and Dende now 2 seconds apart, with Davey another 3.7 behind Dende, so that is a total of 5.8 seconds between Hereze and P3 right now. Will we see the Haas driver pit in this lap? No, Hereze stays out for another lap. Dende tries to go for the undercut now, pitting in, and Davey does stay out, with Jay Tyler doing the undercut as well. Of course, James Dovey being on the medium tyres does not need to stay out, as Alpha also follows suit, the final soft driver to come in, as Trap Formula also gets a 3-second time penalty. So the two drivers staying out right now are Davey and Hereze. Hereze must not be struggling on them tyres right now, as Lewis sets the fastest lap of this Grand Prix at 37.970. Hereze is in a very good position right now to win this championship, if I am not wrong. Can somebody please check for me, because I think it could be one tonight, if I'm right. But they do seem to be on the old tyres now. Can we see Hereze go to mediums? Or we see him try and do the one-stop strategy? It's not recommended, but they might be trying to do it. Of course, you won't lose as much time should be pitting in that one time. Poggle is close to the back of Lewis. Very little ERS, but DRS there to try and give them extra speed. Still not going to be able to get past, but Dende is stuck behind Dino, who is on the 7-lap old medium tyres. But we should see Hereze pit in this lap. No, Hereze stays out for another. But will Davey follow into the pit lane? No, Davey is following Hereze round again. The two drivers there trying to go for the longer stint. So that's certainly what is going on, but Stiggy and Black Phoenix have just had a little battle, and Dende has got past Dino, but they're two battling as... Oh, Dino and Dende have had a bad crash there. Dende coming off with damage, and Dino losing a lot of position as Lewis sets another fastest lap of this Grand Prix at 37.6. So now Dende is going to be losing position due to the damage, and this has helped Trap Formula out, now being the lead guy on the medium tyres that have already pitted in, as Dino has retired with that in pit lane, and it is a virtual safety car. If we go on board with CPI, Black Phoenix hopefully be able to see where he has crashed. Oh, that is a very unorthodox place to crash, but I will not question it. But certainly we could see Hereze and Davey pit in this lap. Of course the field would have been held a bit there, so of course if they are pitting in, they would have been pushing their deltas as much as possible. But if I just quickly bring up the penalties, James Dovey has 10 seconds worth of penalties. Trap Formula, Jay Tyler and Alpha F1 all sharing the same amount of 3 seconds. But Hereze stays out for yet another lap. But will Davey think to pit in this lap? Davey stays out for another lap on them soft tyres. Certainly not questioning about coming in now, as Dende is dropping back with that damage. Most likely see the Williams driver pit in this lap, as we do. But Jay Tyler now within DRS of Trap Formula will be hunting the Ferrari down. Of course, being on the fresher mediums, they'll be able to go longer on them, and Aero Specialist is now, well, was from second, within a second of James Dovey, but does get the DRS off of the McLaren, who is also caught up to the back of Davey. Davey has seriously lost out to this, but Heresy hasn't, to be fair. He has managed them softs very well, and we could even see them try the one stop. Who knows? It's very nuts there, 'cause they've probably got very high tyre wear right now, but who knows? But Poggle is 5/10 behind Lewis right now. Does not have any ERS to come back at them. But Heresy is coming round turn 19 towards 20. Will they pit in this lap? Surely they're going to have to pit in this lap. No, stays out for another lap. This is something that's really shocking me right now. They are staying out in them softs for a long time. Could we see them seriously trying to do the one-stop strategy? As Josh Sidney has now left the session after retiring before turn 1, finally deciding that they don't need to stay in the session. But certainly the McLaren's taking it easy, but Aero Specialist is close behind and has got more ERS than the two drivers ahead of them. So could we see the Mercedes powered Racing Point try to get past the McLaren? But the McLaren is also catching up to the back of the Williams, who is very low on ERS, looking to try and send a bluff there into the corner as the Williams even locks up. But now the McLaren is surely going to get past here with the fresh medium tyres, as Davey just leaves the gap and does not bother fighting it. But will Aero Specialist be able to fight and get past? No, Aero Specialist is too far behind to make a move. But Heresy now is 7.2 seconds clear, 7.3 of his nearest rival, as Trap Formula gets past Riker going into the braking zone. As Poggle also gets past Lewis, but then lets Lewis back past. Okay, certainly that was very interesting. But James Dovey is starting to catch up to the back of Heresy, as Heresy is finally pitting in off of them old softs. We will most likely see them go onto the medium tyre now to the end of this Grand Prix, considering they have taken them for so long. But Davey also follows suit. So now we have got James Dovey, who is currently leading this Grand Prix. Will he try to do what they did and do the one-stop strategy and take these tyres maybe to like lap 16, pit in and take the softs to the end? As CPI Black Phoenix gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, as Riker and Jay Tyler are currently fighting right now. Jay Tyler losing quite a bit of time from this, but Riker should have DRS. No, Jay Tyler will, as Dende gets the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, a 36.992 in the Williams racing car. Trap Formula now being on the fresh mediums will be most likely doing the two-stop strategy, because they will not take him to the end, as Aero Specialist now gets a 3-second time penalty. They are currently net P1, but will be pitting in, so the drivers that are currently still need to stop are Riker, James Dovey, Aero Specialist and Voints. So the two Racing Points deciding not to stop yet. But will the one-stop strategy for Heresy work? Let's see, because I gather he's doing the one-stop. I don't want to comment too soon, but Alpha F1 is now in last position. I do not know what happened to Alpha, but come on, you can do better than that. Trap Formula is catching up to Voint in that Ferrari. Of course, at least one of the Ferraris is doing well right now. Could not be say the same for the other. Surely Trapp must be thinking that his teammate needs to kind of put his finger out and get going. But certainly that gap is closing, but Lewis is close to the back of Poggle in the Mercedes. Of course, McLaren this year in 2021 will be using the Mercedes power unit, so on next year's game it will basically be orange Mercedes versus black Mercedes. Riker is using the DRS on Heresy, but Heresy meanwhile is catching up to Tyler, who is currently on older softs, as Lewis does manage to get past Poggle, but Poggle tries holding it, but Poggle will now get DRS on Lewis and will probably try and fight it back. But with not having the ERS available to him, he cannot do that. But Trap Formula is now right on the back of Voints, who is currently on them 12 lap old mediums. So will be still need to stop, but Trap Formula still needs to stop again because he will not get them mediums till the end of this Grand Prix. Even looking slightly there to try and put Voints off. Voints still staying out on track right now, but is slightly getting held up by the Racing Point driver. Of course, now Trap will have DRS on Aero Specialist, so they will be able to get past this straight now. Of course, DRS wide open for Trap Formula. They're going to battle side by side. Trap is not using their ERS, but does get ahead before the next straight, because Jay Tyler is currently not far behind and will be able to put the pressure to Voints right now, as Heresy is also catching up to both of them. But here we go, Tyler is going for the move on the Racing Point. Racing Point dropping 2 positions in one sector. That is not looking good for them, but Aero Specialist is a second away from James Dovey in the McLaren, and Poggle only 3/10 behind Lewis, who's 5/10 to the back of the other Mercedes. He is currently sat in a Mercedes sandwich, with Heresy now 6/10 behind Voints, and will be looking to get past as soon as possible to catch back up to their rivals. But now coming round the final corner, of course being 2/10 now, this is very close between the two. Go on board with the Haas. It is going to try and make the move into turn one, going round the outside. This is very unorthodox, but can they get the move done? Yes, they do. That was a very sweet move from the Haas driver. Very unorthodox, but it worked, as Tyler is 7/10 behind Trap Formula, slightly losing the car there, as you saw, having to lift off, but cutting the corner and most crucially getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Is that their second penalty? Yes, it is, now putting up to 6 seconds. So on this grid so far, we have still got 8 drivers, sorry, we're still without penalties. But James Dovey's on 10 seconds, which is certainly interesting to see, and it's a bit questionable. So, but Lewis does get past Riker, as Davey sends one in the Williams, as Alpha F1 gets another penalty. Tapping the back of the Mercedes for good measure there, but now coming into the next heavy braking zone, will he send it onto the brakes? Will he do the move? Yes, he does. He sends it up the inside on the Mercedes. The Williams just gives the space. The Mercedes just gives the space to the Williams, and the Williams is like goodbye. But Dende is catching up to the back of Black Phoenix with Alpha 10 seconds behind them. Alpha F1, come on mate, you can do better than that. But Trap Formula is on the back of Jay Tyler, who did get past, and Heresy is now 9/10 behind Trap Formula with DRS for the first zone, which is going to be after sector 1. Most likely Heresy is on the one-stop strategy, unlike Trap Formula and Jay Tyler, who will have to pit again. To say it's very unorthodox to do the one-stop round here, but obviously they find it possible. But we will most likely see the likes of James Dovey, Aero Specialist and Voyance pit in this lap for a set of soft tyres to the end of this Grand Prix. But Heresy has caught right up to the back of Trap Formula and will probably look for a move as there is yellow flag, and that is CPI Black Phoenix. What has gone on now? We could see a full course caution. Safety car. That isn't another unorthodox crash, I will say so myself. But we could see the likes of Heresy pit in for the softs, and this has majorly helped out James Dovey, Aero Specialist and Voyance, as Davey gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the full safety car, sorry. Oh dear. That is not good at all. But we most likely will see James Dovey pit in this lap with Aerospace Specialist will follow. Both drivers sticking to the line. Tyler slightly across it. Heresy follows in. Voyance will follow in. Of course, backing off a bit to give their teammate a bit of a gap. Davey will stay pit in as well. Lewis is following suit. Poggle follows suit. Riker, he's going to get held up in the pit lane. Riker will. Dende will gain massively off of this, but Trap got slightly held there, and Heresy will drop down to P5 still, and James Dovey down to P4. So Heresy is gone into the mediums. Oh no, this could be their race over. Every driver's pit onto soft tyres except him. Interesting. That's certainly interesting. But everybody did come into the pit lane by the looks of it. Of F1 going onto the soft tyres. But let's, while we are under the safety car, have a look at position changes. Aero Specialist started down in P16, is now leading the Grand Prix behind, of course, Burt Mylander in the AMG GTR safety car. Lol, I know. As Jay Tyler is gone up 1 position, Trap Formula is up 4. James Dovey's up 7. Heresy is down 4. Oh, they've got the glitch. Vonis is up 6. Davey is up down 1. Poggle is up 1. Lewis is up 1. Riker's up 5. Dende is down 6. And Alpha is down 4 positions. And Stiggy is exactly where they started. But yeah, certainly interesting to see. So Aero Specialist has taken the most advantage from this, as Black Phoenix does now lead the session. But Jay Tyler is not far, but is close behind, of course. Same with Trap Formula, they're all going to be bunched up, ready to start the Grand Prix once again. Hopefully next lap the safety car should come in and let Aero Specialist start the Grand Prix yet again. But Vonis, everybody here is going to take advantage of this. But Poggle and Lewis and Dende going onto the medium tyres along with Heresy, so they feel that they might be able to go for longer on and go for the end of the race rather than thinking going all out at the start. But Jay Tyler is currently in AI mode. but everybody is bunched up. We are just waiting for Stiggy to catch up to the group. So once Sticky does catch up, which should hopefully be by the end of Sector 2, we should be able to get back under racing with the safety car, should be able to pull into the pit lane and let Aero Specialists restart this Grand Prix. A safety car has been announced, it is in this lap. Aero Specialist in the racing point will become the effective safety car. I'm going to go on board, well no actually, I'm going to go for the broadcast view to see how this pans out with Aero Specialist now. What will they do? Will they start the Grand Prix again early, or will they wait till last minute and do a Valtteri Bottas or a Max Verstappen at Brazil 2019? So certainly mixed grid right now, but Bert Mylander is heading back to the pit lane with Aero Specialist not far behind, waiting to get this back undergoing as Bert Mylander does pull into the pit lane. Aero Specialist will most likely start the Grand Prix, and he has restarted it. Jay Tyler reacted well to that, sticking with him, but now we have restarted. Trap Formula got off well as well. All drivers getting a very clean restart to that. Any moves seem like, but Davey is right on the back of Honest. They will have to serve their drive-through penalty most likely soon, but when will they want to get past the Racing Point driver? But Jay Tyler is also on the back of Aero Specialist. Could he get past this time? Trap Formula is deciding to not use their ERS, deciding to save it all. Same with James Dovey, but Heresy is pushing, is going to get past the McLaren before the end of this straight. Yes they will, and they will get him into the braking zone and complete the move, squeezing him to the outside a bit, but with the McLaren try and hold it, no, they back off and they give them the move. Jay Tyler now is close to the back of the Racing Point. They're going to go to the outside. This is a prime move. Can they get the move done for the Leaders Grand Prix? They cannot, as Aero Specialist just managed to cover off the switchback. Jay Tyler does get better exit though. Can we see Jay Tyler send it under the brakes? Come on, let's get some interesting racing. No, chooses not to, just sits behind and watches it go on. But Jay Tyler, Trap Formula, all within 7/10 of Aero Specialist now. Surely he is going to be feeling the pressure of the two drivers breathing down his neck, or being on the back of his gearbox, as Poggle does get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and Davey does pitting to serve their drive-through penalty as Heresy sets the fastest lap at this Grand Prix at 36.7, as Aero Specialist also gets another 3-second time penalty, which takes them up to 6 seconds. Trap Formula right now is currently in position for the win, but Heresy, of course, being within that gap, is net P1 still. DRS should be reactivated very soon. So next lap it will be, which will be able to spice up the racing more. But here we go, Tyler's going for the move. Let's watch it in the broadcast view as Tyler gets it done. All squeezes Aero Specialist there, but gets it done before the braking zone and gets that move for P1 complete. Even turning a bit early to cover off any moves. But now Trap Formula is going to want to look at this and try and take advantage of Aero Specialist being weak now. Now Trap Formula is sending it to the inside, which is very unorthodox. It's better to be on the outside for this corner, but they can get the move done, and he's up into P2. Aero Specialist dropping down 2 positions, down to 3rd, with Heresy now chasing him down on the medium tyres. Heresy currently right now in the run for the win of this Grand Prix, and Sticky gets a 3-second time penalty to add to the pain of being in P12. And Alpha F1 is also battling with Riker right now. And that's not Alpha F1 game. There we go. Okay, this game just shows the wrong person at the wrong time. But anyway, DRS is now enabled for the remainder of this Grand Prix. Of course, 7 laps left to go. Can we see Trap Formula take the win tonight, or will Heresy get it under the penalty situation? Being on the medium tyres, they are not going to have as much pace as the drivers ahead, but they are certainly going in for the long haul. Unlike them, they're going for the short but fast tyres, whereas these mediums will last longer. Oh, tapping the rear of that racing point is not going to help out, but DRS will help them out this lap. Air Specialist will have DRS and has got more ERS. Of course, Heresy's best move right now is just to save. Trap Formula has got DRS, but is going to save it, the ERS, before using it on the second straight. Now will most likely send it, or will just sit behind. We do see Trap Formula is not using any ERS right now. We could see him playing the long game and leaving it until the last minute to get that move done, which is the key thing to do in racing, is to leave things till the last minute so they cannot get you back. But Denaday is close to the back of Alpha F1 with Poggle in P7, not far behind the other race point of Vonis. Heresy now catching up to the back of Aero Specialist. Locking up though, them soft tyres must be not feeling the best for Specialist already, but the mediums are playing into hand right now with 7 laps left to go of this Grand Prix. So now coming on to lap 22 out of 28. Jay Tyler is currently leading the Grand Prix, but Heresy will currently win under the current circumstances. Sorry if I can get my words out there. Heresy really needs to get past Aero Specialist to take the fight to Trap Formula, as Davey just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 36.6 on the soft tyres, sorry. Heresy having that point stolen from them there, using ERS now. With DRS wide open, if I was him, I would save it, but he seems to want to get the move done sooner rather than later. Will they send it under the brakes? No, they do not, as Aero Specialist just sends it and gets damage and causes a huge collision there. Has Trap Formula got damage? Yes, Trap Formula is missing an end plate due to Aero Specialist deciding to send it. As now Aero Specialist is going to look at the move, but it does not. As Heresy now coming with the DRS, it's going to go to the outside, and it's going to go round the outside of Aero Specialist to take P3, and will be easily be able to get to P2 now off Trap Formula, because Trap Formula does have damage, so that Ferrari is going to be hindered. So it's going to be the Ferrari versus Ferrari basically now. That was very dangerous from Aero Specialist, I will say myself. He broke too late and caused a collision there, causing Trap Formula to now have damage. Trap Formula doesn't seem to be suffering too bad though, missing an end plate, but Jay Tyler is starting to pull away slowly. But Trap Formula is going to stay out with that damage and not pick in, as Lewis gets a 3-second time penalty to add to it now. Trap Formula runs slightly wide there, because that damage surely is causing them slight bit of pain, not being able to turn in as they want, as Jay Tyler gets another 3-second time penalty, making up to 9 seconds now. This is just playing into Heresy's hands, and he does get a 3-second time penalty. Oh no, Vonis is in for this right now. Oh, Vonis has had a half spin. I spoke too soon for the race my driver. Sticky gets the fast lap Grand Prix, a 36.5. But Trap Formula is holding Heresy off with that damage right now. But Heresy managing to keep behind on the medium tyres, will have DRS, but is not going to use any overtake, as they've got low amount to be fair. But right now, if Heresy wins this Grand Prix, I think he can take the championship, if I am right, as we have just got a comment in the chat. Stick on pens, yep. So Jay Tyler has 9 seconds, Trap has 3, Heresy has 3, Stovey has 5, Specialist has 6, Poggle has 3, Vonis has 0, Lewis has 3, Dende has 0, Alpha has 6, Riker has 0, Davey has 0, and Sticky with 3 seconds penalties. Heresy is really being held up right now by Trap Formula, but Trap Formula seems to not be struggling too much with that damage. It seems like it's not hindering them much. Delta, can you please inform me of how much damage Trap has got as you are in a party with him? Is it yellow, orange or red wing damage? Thank you. It seems to be yellow by looking at it, but I guess you will be able to know this. But Heresy, if they do win this Grand Prix, Stiggy gets a 36.3 as the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Trap Formula is defending, going down to chicane. Heresy using all their ERS now, going into break zone. Trap Formula is going to stay ahead, but Heresy is going to get the DRS again and go for another move. But James Dovey is now getting involved with this battle. James Dovey is going for the move on Heresy, and Heresy has now lost P3. Of course, on track he will be able to take the win, but still, the Delta is orange. Yeah, what Eri did was clumsy, and Lewis does get past Vonis, but they are battling now side by side as Dende decides that he wants to get involved with this, as Alpha's also getting involved, finally back in the points after having quite a few laps outside of the points. But yes, what he did do was very out of the blue. But if Heresy does win this Grand Prix, with Dende currently sat in P9, if I'm right, will get the championship, as they will be too many points ahead. So, but I just need to confirm that first. Trap Formula still not struggling that bad with orange-ish damage, as Delta describes it, with James Dovey behind on the medium tyres. Heresy right now is sat in the position for the win, with Vonis looking to take what I would say P2 or P3 on after penalties. But Trap Formula is only 2/10 behind Jay Tyler, with James Dovey right on the gearbox of that Ferrari. Certainly very close and hotting up towards the end of this Grand Prix. Trap Formula is running low on ERS. James Dovey is going to go for the move to the inside. Trap's going to hold it around the outside though with James. James is going to back out of it as chooses to be the smart one and back out. But Vonis does get past Poggle, but they're battling side by side as Poggle goes off track now. Lewis takes advantage of this and gets past the Mercedes, and Alpha also does as well. Denade in P9 is also, and Poggle has just stopped to let everybody go. Something tells me they will retire in the pit lane now. But Jay, the top four are all within 2 seconds nearly. James Dovey and that making 1.1 seconds between James Dovey and Jay Tyler, and 5/10 between that. So yeah, 1.5, 1.6 seconds between the top four right now. This is hotting up. We have got 2 laps left to go after this lap. So certainly be interestingly enough to see. Heresy has got little ERS, but James Dovey, of course, with more ERS, is managing to save it for the next straight. Trap has got hardly any, but is still managing that damage very well. Fair play to him, running off track a bit there. Surprised that is not a warning, as my nose is bumped up, sorry. As Lewis is now getting past Vonis is getting past Lewis, sorry. As Alpha is now going to pick up from this. Has not got much ERS, but is going to put it to use. And is going to look for the move on Lewis. Is he going to try and make it 3 wide going to corner? Alpha chooses not to, but Lewis goes round the outside of Vonis into the next corner and gets the move back done on the driver. But James Dovey is right over the back of Trap Formula now. Trap Formula doing very well with that damage, mind you. I will say that right now. But Alpha F1 within 1/10 of Vonis. This is very heating up the whole grid. So if Heresy can win the championship tonight, so hopefully, sadly Sam won't be here to crown F10 champion. Instead you've got me. But Vonis is 3 tenths behind Lewis, with Alpha also 2 tenths behind Vonis. Trap Formula now. He's got 2 laps left to go. DRS open as quickly as possible. Heresy is going to come back at James Dovey. He wants this P3 on track. He does not want to start in P4. But James Dovey parks it to the inside and just blocks off the move. But Heresy looks at it there. Not smart from him there, but still, he's going to lose a little bit of time to James Dovey, but he's going to be able to keep this DRS. But Trap Formula now is right back at Jay Tyler. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? Or slightly, but just not enough. As we're now heading round sector 3 to the second to last time. So of course we're on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Jay Tyler currently leading us away and should lead us on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. Luke Jose just needs... Yeah, he does at this point. He is currently net P1 after penalties, so as long as he doesn't get another penalty, it is his. But now Jay Tyler will lead us away for the final lap of this Grand Prix. Alpha gets another 3-second time penalty with Trap Formula in P2, James Dovey P3, Heresy P4, Specialist in P5, Lewis P6, Alpha in P7, Denende in P8, Vonis in P9, Riker P10, Davey P11, Sticky P12 and Poggle in P13 with that damage, or if they've got a new front wing, I do not know right now. But it is very heating up because we're coming to the DRS straight now. But just quickly, let's have a look at penalties. So Jay Tyler with the 9 seconds, Trap with 3, James with 5, Heresy with 3, Specialist with... Oh, there's a McLaren round. That is Lewis. Lewis is in the wall and has lost most of their front wing. That is not good at all. But now it is heating up between the lot. Heresy is going to use all the overtake they have available. Same with James Dovey. Trap Formula has less than James. Will James go for the move on Trap? Yes, he does. Late on the brakes, but Trap, they're holding it side by side very nicely there. Trap can hold the move there, but then James gets a 3-second time penalty to add to his sorrows. Trap Formula running off track there. This is just giving more and more to Jay Tyler. But Heresy is going to back out of it, but then send it on the brakes. That was a good move from Heresy. It was slightly unorthodox because it was forcing James Dovey out of the way, but he seemed to do nothing there. But Heresy will seem to win this Grand Prix if he can make it through these final corners cleanly now. Trap Formula coming home net P2 on track. James winning. Jay Tyler winning on track by... Heresy does not win the race. Sorry, that is my bad calculation, but he does win the championship as Denede does come home in P6, but Heresy is F10 champion, I think. Heresy, the Haas Formula 1 team driver in F10 here, coming home in P2, a Trap winning the race with that damage. I'll say it's very well driven, as Poggle does retire from the session, as we are waiting for Stiggy to now cross the line for Abu Dhabi, and that is the race over. She'll get all my pens removed, hopefully. Well, that's not going to stop Heresy. Heresy has won the championship now, thanks to Luke for telling me. Well, for confirming it at least. Thank you, Luke. But Heresy is your F10 champion for season 27, but Trap Formula is the winner of this Grand Prix. Provisionally right now, if James Dovey said he's going to try and get them penalties removed, but certainly that was a good race from Trap, I will say. Considering he finished with that damage, he drove very well. But hopefully we should be able to get Heresy and Trap into the box, because I want to speak to the I'll hopefully be able to interview the winner and the champion, as Trap Formula now wins the Grand Prix, as it is confirmed. Heresy in P2, James Dovey P3, Jay Tyler in P4 after the penalties costing him. P5 is Voyance, P6 is Denede. in P7 is Riker, Davey in P8, P9 Aero Specialist, P10 Alpha F1, P11 Lewis 05, Sticky in P12, and the retirees of this Grand Prix were Poggle, CPI back Phoenix, Dino, Josh Chidney, and Stebber _55 in P17 retiring from this Grand Prix. That's certainly been an action-packed Grand Prix, especially at the end, because that safety car put the pack together very well. But hopefully we can get either Trap Formula or Heresy to join the party now and be interviewed. If you can tell Trap to join Delta, that would be good, as I'm just going to also message in the Discord. As we have now got chat. He's not joining. Right, okay, thank you Delta for confirming. Thank you. So this is the end of the stream. I am going to end it all here. Thank you for joining me for F10 Season 27's, well, second to last race this season. Heresy being crowned the champion. Hopefully next week Sam will be back. So I'll see you whenever I see you, I guess. Goodbye.